Hey everyone, and welcome back to What Did I Miss? Where today I'll be looking at some recent casting news concerning the series Star Trek Picard, and how it will affect the show as well as the rest of the Star Trek universe. On September 2nd, it was reported by Deadline that actress Annie Wersching has been cast in a reoccurring role on Picard as the Borg Queen. The actress actually has a history with Star Trek, as her first credited role was on the series Enterprise in the episode Oasis, and she has had a very successful career since, having starred in the series 24, General Hospital, and Bosch, among many other credits. Her casting in the role opens up a lot of possibilities and also calls into question some of the events that we have already seen happen in various shows and movies. So I wanted to break down the past of the Borg Queen first before we go into what this casting means. But before we get into that, if you could drop a like on this video, I would really appreciate it. Doing so really helps out new channels like this one. If you are just a casual fan of Star Trek, you may believe that the Borg Queen died in her first appearance at the end of the movie First Contact, when Data and Picard killed the Queen in the past.
Data! Resistance is futile.
That Queen was actually played by actress Alice Krige, and is widely considered to be one of the best villain performances in the pantheon of Star Trek. I say that Queen because this character reappeared once again on the series Voyager, even though it was assumed that there was only one Queen within the Borg collective. In fact, when Picard meets the Borg Queen in First Contact, he states that he felt her presence before on a Borg ship that had been destroyed in the Next Generation episode, The Best of Both Worlds. At the time, she cryptically explains that Picard's limited conception of space-time does not allow him to understand how the Queen is able to assert herself within the collective and be in multiple places across the galaxy. But in the first season of Picard, we actually discover how the Queen is able to do this. In the episode Broken Pieces, we learn about a technology within every Borg cube that is called a Queen Cell. Within this room, the Queen has the ability to travel to wherever they wish, as Seven of Nine, along with Hugh, Picard, and Soji, work to activate it and then send Picard and Soji to the planet where Will Riker and Deanna Troi were living. So besides being able to communicate telepathically with any individual Borg drone and being able to commandeer any Borg vessel, the Queen was also able to travel across space at great distances with this technology. But this does not necessarily mean that there is only one Queen, as we did see one perish in Star Trek First Contact. And if you are a fan of Star Trek Voyager, you also saw the Queen die once again, as well as a lot of the Borg fleet in the finale of that series, a two-part episode titled Endgame. So how can there be multiple Queens if there's supposed to only be one controlling the Borg? Well, for that answer, we have to look at a bit of history of the Borg, and while there has been a lot written about them over the years, it is difficult to understand what is considered canon. Although I should say that in recent years, it appears that the producers of Star Trek have been open to including aspects of lore from past books that have been released into their new series. For instance, the upcoming series Prodigy includes a character from a species known as Bacarian, which had not been mentioned in any shows or movies, but the race was featured in a few pocket novels. The novel Resistance dealt with the Borg creating a new Queen and revealed that once a Queen was killed, a protocol was put in place so that a new one would be created. In that book, Picard allows himself to be re-assimilated in order to destroy this new Queen, which he does, but since that event is not referenced in the series Picard, it is not likely to have occurred in canon. In the Star Trek Online game, there is a new Borg Queen, and some of the aspects of her past as well as the hierarchy of the Borg are explored, but what is most interesting about this version of the character is that it appears to be Romulan, not the species the original Queen was, which was designated Species 125 by the Borg. The series Picard established that it was very rare and almost impossible for a Romulan to be assimilated by the Borg, so it is also possible that this version of the Queen is now not considered canon. But throughout all her appearances, it has been explained that the Queen is there to bring order to chaos and give direction to the millions of Borg drones across the galaxy. Because of this, there are almost definitely multiple Queens within the collective ready to assert themselves when needed, but at any given time there's only one that is in control. If you think about the design of a Borg ship, it is filled with redundant systems that can activate when another system is damaged or destroyed, so it would make sense that they would set up their command structure with similar redundancies. So now that we have established how it is possible for a new Borg Queen to appear on Picard, let's look at why she may be showing up at all. Obviously, the Borg have a long history with Picard, and not just with him, but with another guest star on the series, Q. Depending on your school of thought, Q is responsible for the Borg attacking the Alpha Quadrant by sending the Enterprise to meet them in the episode Q Who. I say depending on your school of thought, because for a long time it was assumed that this was humanity's first encounter with the Borg. But on the series Voyager, as well as the series Enterprise, it became evident that humanity had become aware of the Borg earlier than this. But arguments could also be made about time paradoxes and the events of the movie First Contact. that I really don't want to get into right now, but for the sake of argument, let's just say that Q is in fact responsible for at least Picard's introduction to the species. It is probably not a coincidence that Q and the Borg Queen will be appearing on the next season of Picard, and while we all assume that the Queen of Hearts in the teaser was a hint towards Q, it was also a hint that we would be seeing a Queen again. The Borg's first encounter with the Enterprise D was short but legendary, as Picard had to concede to Q that humanity was not ready for this threat, so that Q would send the Enterprise back to its known galaxy. At times, even Q has shown that he was scared of what the Borg were capable of when he warned his son not to mess with them in the Voyager episode Q2.
If the Continuums told you once, they've told you 1,000 times. Don't provoke the Borg!
So there's a good chance that once Q gets involved in the season, he may want to take Picard back through a greatest hits of their time together and force Picard to face his old foe, the Borg Queen. Or perhaps the Queen will be able to tell that Q is messing with the time continuum, which is what he is rumored to be doing this season, and since she is able to perceive space-time in a different way than the human race, she may mean to stop or affect what Q is changing. But what I think may be the most likely scenario is that the Queen will learn about the evolution of Picard and want to meet this new version of the character. Let's not forget that now Picard is more machine than man after having his conscience put into an android body at the end of the first season of Picard. In a dropped plot point from the Best of Both Worlds episode, it was said that the Borg captured Picard specifically because the Queen wanted Picard to not be fully assimilated, but to be a companion to her, and that his continued resistance to her persuasion made this impossible. This is why he was given the name Locutus, but was otherwise a normal drone same as the others. Now that Picard has evolved into a new form, the Queen may want to meet this new Picard and see that he is now the form of perfection that she desired earlier, and once again try and persuade him to be her companion and control the Borg. I doubt that becoming an android will make Picard any less reprehensive about his time in the Collective or his feelings about the Queen, but hey, you can't knock a girl for trying. But beside Picard and Q, there is another character on the series that the Borg Queen has shown great interest in, and that is Seven of Nine. Seven is the one that got away, as the Queen had planned for her to help the Collective assimilate the Federation by putting her on the Voyager. This plan proved to be the cause of her demise, as Seven not only broke free from the control of the Collective, but has spent her life since freeing others from Borg control. The first season of Picard also saw Seven reassimilate herself into a mini-collective within a captured Borg vessel in an effort to save the remaining Borg on the ship. And it appeared that Seven briefly had a form of control over the drones similar to what the Borg Queen has. This event could have alerted the Borg Queen to Seven's presence and would cause the Borg to once again look for her. Like Picard, the Queen also seemed to have a personal affinity for Seven, and now that both are working together, it is all the more easier for the Queen to reunite with both of them. But the teaser for the second season of Picard also showed a different Seven that did not have any of the remaining Borg implants in her face or hands. It has been assumed that what the audience is witnessing is an alternate timeline in which Seven, or Annika Hansen, her birth name, has never been assimilated by the Borg. There is no telling what ramifications having an important character like her not become who she is destined to be will be, and this change to the timeline could also have attracted the attention of the Borg Queen. But those are just my theories. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on how the new Borg Queen will affect the future of Picard. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button if you have not yet, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?